Welcome everyone to the teachings of Samata Samashti Dharma. We're here today with our beloved Guru, Swami Durgananda, and Joe to discuss the topic of Kali.
Hello Swami, how are you?
Good, thank you.
That's good, thank you Michelle as well. Couple of questions on the age of Kali. Firstly, can you actually explain what is the age of Kali?
I think we did touch on it in a different podcast, and I think I forgot to tell you exactly how long it goes and when it started. I think I didn't give you the right, but who knows when it started really.
Okay.
It's supposed to have started the age of Kali when Krishna was shot with an arrow in the heel. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? So, because there was a hunter and he was hunting deer and he mistook Krishna, who was lying down in the jungle having a rest, for a deer.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a wow. And that was possibly about 10,000 BC, I believe. No one knows exactly when it happened. And the age of Kali is called the age of darkness.
Oh.
And there are it's called a Kali Yuga. And there are 4 phases or 4 ages that is taught in the ancient scriptures.
What are those ages?
They are, well, Satya is the first. And Satya is when everybody does everything right. It's the right Dharma, they're courteous, they're good, that sort of thing. And that lasts, I can't tell you offhand, but I think in one of my books, I've got one here, but I'm not quite sure in which book I actually tell you all the details and all how long these yugas last, because they all last a little bit differently.
Brilliant. So everyone should buy them the whole lot.
Yeah,
Find it for us.
Exactly. And then you have the age of Trita. And Trita is when people are beginning to get, let's just do a quickie here, or, just they're losing that righteousness.
So they're not really following the path they should be following?
No.
Okay.
So you can see with these ages how the mankind, the social network collapses.
So it actually sounds like it's declining.
Yeah, this is the
through each
declining.
age.
It's declining. And the next one is Vapara, D-V-A-P-A-R-A. I can never work out how to say that one. And that is when it's getting, people are starting to war with each other, people are not happy. In this age also you have the epics, which the Mahabharata and, Rama and Krishna and all those sort of things happening.
Yes.
And at the end of that age begins the age of Kali.
Okay.
Now the age of Kali is the darkness.
Okay. So as it seems to be declining, is there a way back up?
And we'll have to wait.
The next okay.
Yeah, wait.
So we don't know what the next age will be at this stage, or so when the age of Kali finishes.
It might go back to Satya, which is always the beginning.
Okay. Yeah.
I won't be around for it though, because it's something like 420,000 years ago. So
oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So why is it called the age of Kali? Why Kali?
Oh, because in the Hindu, I don't know who named it Kali, probably Patanjali, but Kali is the goddess who's the dark goddess. She's the goddess of the dacoits, the cutthroat bandits.
So
it's very negative, and because it's called the darkness, it's actually, all these have a colour. You go from white is Satya, and then you have red, and then you have yellow, and now you have black.
So with that, living in this age and things being declining, how do we wake up, or how do we get out of that negativity? How do we push through and be positive and make a commitment to our family, to ourselves, to our kids to improve our life and improve the life for them?
Read the books. No, really, you have to find love.
So love overcomes all.
Yeah, it will overcome in the age of Kali. It is, it's written that that's what will happen. It's interesting though, because in the age of Kali, you find out, it is said when people move from one society to another, and we have a lot of movement around the world.
Yes.
When kings become criminals.
Through fraudulent activities or through...
It doesn't matter, whatever they're doing. Yeah,
Okay.
Instead of being leaders of men,
Yes.
or mankind,
Yes.
they become criminals. And you can see that all over the world, the dictators don't care how many people die.
Yeah.
It's really quite sad.
Yeah.
So, and what also happens in the age of Kali, that all the teachings disappear.
So do they disappear or do they withdraw? How does it...
Well,
what's the difference between both?
Energetically, it's withdrawn.
Okay. But a physical, it's disappearing.
Yes.
Okay. So that brings me to my next question, I suppose, Swami. Does it affect the way we are in this life now? And if so, how does it?
Yeah, it does, because you've got a lot of temptations, haven't you?
But we would have had temptations hundreds of years ago or thousands of years ago.
Yeah, but hundreds of years ago was the age of Kali.
Oh, so we're still in that, temptation.
Yeah, and
Okay,
these
yes.
temptations will become stronger and stronger.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Actually, we have discussed what becomes before the age of Kali and what comes after. But overall, we're in a declining state, if that's for the want of a better
Socially
word.
declining.
And love is going to get us through that. So how do we create that? If we're in a rut, how do we find love? How do we create love? How do we look for love? How do we search for love?
You have to love yourself first before you can love anybody else.
And how do we do that if a person has got low self-esteem or people are struggling in life because they're struggling in their job or they're struggling in their relationship or they're struggling with just things in general? How do we overcome that type of thing to get back onto the circle of love and life?
Well, I think you have to be honest with yourself. You have to sit down and do a lot of self-discovery. What are my good points? What are my bad points? Get to know yourself first.
So like a checklist.
Yeah.
A positive and negative checklist. So
and so I could do that a bit better, and I'm not going to change that. And I'll change that one, sort of, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I've told that to people who've said to me, "Oh no, I can't do that. That won't work. How can I love myself a different way?" Well, you can't.
Yeah. That makes sense.
You really can't. How can you love something you don't understand?
That's true, actually. That's very true. Because you're putting yourself in a position where... I was reading a book a while ago and the comment was, when you're talking about yourself, you don't look at your lower self, you look at the higher self. And you're selling yourself as the person you want to be.
You look at your ego.
And that's, we've touched on ego before. So It's funny how things turn a full circle in the teachings.
There's not much humility left in the world.
True. Very true. So how do we overcome these things as people? Like I know we've touched on meditation before and being true. How do you reach out to the people out there listening to us right now that are struggling?
If you've started to struggle and you've started to think there's something else, I do suggest that you read the books, because they seem to be easy to read, but they're written with hidden messages.
Yes.
Even some simple little fable that I've written there has got a lot of information in it. But then you have to critically thinking. Critical thinking is important for reading spiritual books.
So it's a study.
Yes.
It's a deep dive.
Yeah, someone said to me, I've read them all. That's it. Is there anything else?
Oh, wow, okay.
So you see what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to really...
You have to study, you read them and you study them and
Yeah.
you contemplate them or
Yeah.
you meditate on some...
You do,
Okay.
even if you meditate on one sentence.
Yes.
Because that information has to come in and will come into the lower mind, you know, the
Yeah.
mind of the body, that's the lower mind. It has to come into the heart region,
Yes.
so you think about it. And this heart region is then you're into the higher mind, and then there's the highest mind, which is, you could say, mind of the spirit or mind of the soul.
So we shouldn't really be speed reading it and thinking, I've read this book in a day and now I know everything.
Yeah,
We
true.
should really, it could take months to read the one book because you're really studying it. And that will help you on your journey because these things open up, these things come to
Absolutely.
you.
And people have said to me, oh, I read your book, but I'm reading it again. And how come there's all these things in here that weren't in here before?
Yeah, because they're open to...
Yes.
Yes, because it's just like watching a movie. You
Yeah.
see it the first time and you think, oh, that was a great movie. The second time you watch it, you think, oh my God, I didn't notice this, I didn't notice this, I didn't notice this.
Exactly.
And this is why when people they read the book once, they don't really study it, they're reading it and then they finish it and they think, okay, I've read that, I know everything I need to know. But it's actually interesting what you say because you can apply that practice or theory to a lot of things when you read it the second time. Things jump out that you weren't ready for the first time, but they are the second time.
That's right.
So Swami, touching on the age of Kali, what teachings would you suggest that you could use in everyday living that would assist us all living a more positive life?
It's interesting that you say that, you ask that question, because in this book here, the book that my guru has written, he has exactly that, tells you exactly what to do. You know, it starts at this hour, you do this, you do that. And if you follow it, you possibly will never again think of spirituality. Because one devotee said to him when I was there, said, I have to work, I have to feed my family, there's no time for that. So that's a good one. But you have to be, you have to really stay at it. If you say, just give yourself little things, like one of the things that I always do, which I've done since ever, and something that my guru taught me in the very early days of my learning, was to check which nostril I'm breathing out of when I get out of bed.
Oh, really?
So if it's breathing out the left, you put the left foot first. If you're breathing out the right, put the right foot first.
We wouldn't be aware or
No,
conscious
the
of that.
left will give you a negative day and the right will give you a positive day. So I do that. The other thing that I teach quite often is, mindfulness. Now, lots of people are talking about mindfulness. It's the big deal at the moment.
Yeah, true.
But when you have your shower in the morning, do you ever actually feel the water on your body?
Me personally, I do.
A lot of people don't.
No.
Because, I had a son who could read a comic and not get wet and he was in the shower. So let me tell you. But there's a lot of people who are running, clean the teeth, have a shave in the shower, get this. No, feel that. Feel it. It's really puts you really in a wonderful frame of mind.
So our life is in a rush, and we don't actually acknowledge and feel things that we should feel.
Yeah.
Or stop and appreciate what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like, for example, feeling the water when you're having a shower.
Yeah.
That's good to
It's
know.
quite a blessing, actually. Just imagine we've got hot water here.
True.
Better than having it cold in the ice. And the other thing is when you have a meal, maybe you could make one day a week vegetarian.
That's a good idea.
You don't need to make every day vegetarian, it's not really necessary. And spend at least, they say 1 minute for every hour of the day. So if you spent 24 minutes either contemplating or meditating, you've got plenty of time in the day for that. You can do your shopping, you can look after your children, you can do all sorts of things and just set aside. Doesn't matter if it's early in the morning, late at night, or in the afternoon.
So if we were smart enough we all probably sleep a little bit longer than we should.
Mm.
So, based on that, if we woke up a half an hour earlier or went to bed a half an hour later, that would be the 24 minutes that we could fit in.
Absolutely. You don't need to meditate for an hour. You won't get anywhere. The thing is, you know, if it's in the morning or whenever it is, just have a glass of water or rinse your mouth out and wash your hands with a bit of cold water, and then just sit always in the same place, a quiet place. Sit on a cushion, but don't sit on 4 cushions or something like I've seen people do. It's ridiculous. So, and if you can't do that, you can sit in a chair. I meditate in a chair.
Yep.
Don't lie down because you will go to sleep.
Okay. So
You'll drift off.
when, and I know it'll be different for everybody. It's just like people prefer their night owls or their early birds or whatever. But when do you think you get the most impact? If you were to suggest to somebody the best time to meditate is
Early in the morning.
does it get you started? Like is that food for the soul?
Food for the soul. Because
Beautiful.
I wouldn't say to anyone to do it at 2 a.m.
No.
It's really difficult doing it at 2 a.m. let me tell you. But that would be the easiest way. And there's you're not going to lash yourself or something. You just be kind to yourself.
Yep.
This is all part of the love yourself.
Even with the sleep process though, sometimes people do have that 4 hours sleep and they stir at about 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
They do.
Is that when they could get up or should get up or maybe get up?
They could.
Because then they can go back to their sleep and have their next 4 hours.
That's right.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm.
That's really worth contemplating.
Yeah, I think 8 people out of 10 wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's when we're digesting and all the rest of it, and the body starts to work really hard, so they wake up then.
Oh, wow. And is there anything finally that you'd like to add to the age of Kali?
Yes, not to give up.
Beautiful.
People give in to their, I'm always saying, you keep giving in to that lower mind. Why?
Yeah, true.
I mean, it's not the path of yoga, which is the life path. It's not difficult.
Why do we make it difficult?
Yeah, exactly, because it's the age of Kali.
So it can touch on our thoughts. If our thoughts are positive, we can start thinking positive things even when things negative are coming at us. Because that does happen.
Yeah,
You have a bad day at the office, or you have a bad day with friends, or you have these bad days or these bad moments, but we need to change that thought, or we need to start getting on the bike again and think positively.
Yeah, you do. Change your thoughts, you change your life.
I think we'll finish there. Thank you very much for that, Swami. That was excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in another episode of the Teachings of Samata. For further information regarding these teachings with Swami Durgananda and her products, please check out the website below. To follow on with this journey, please subscribe for more.